Brian Vickers climbs out unhappy.
Asking Dale Jr., what were you thinking 14 laps into this race?
Darrell, the closing rate in the last few feet seemed to indicate that Junior's entry speed into the corner was much higher than Vickers.
Well, there's almost like a crossover point there where he was down low, Junior, and he's going to move up the racetrack to get a better entry into turn 1, and he just clipped the back of the 25 car.
The 25, the 8, and the 18 may be done for the day. Ricky Rudd's going to try to make repairs.
When you say hit me in Vegas, Brian Vickers telling Dale Earnhardt Jr. it doesn't mean this. Steve Burns is with both of them. Steve?
And they have both just come from the infield care center. Guys, both the CEO. Brian, what happened on the racetrack?
I guess that'd be a better question for Junior. You know, we had a good car. The GMAC.com Chevy team was doing a good job. You know, we had had trouble in qualifying, but we had a great race car and was just trying to work way to the front. It's just you know, it's just shame it's early in the race for stuff like that. But you know, accidents happen. Hey, you know, we've all made mistakes. You know, Dale apologized, and you know, we'll put our stuff back together and go next week.
All right, thank you, Brian. And Dale, again, he said that you apologized. What happened from your point of view?
I got in the corner too hard. I was kind of letting him go on the outside, and you know, just kind of being patient if I could. And he got off in the corner a lot easier than I expected him to. I just got in the back of him, turned him around, and just took us both out. Really, pretty much simple as that. Just made a mistake, and hated for Brian, hated for Hendrick Motorsports and all those guys. Brian looked like he had a good car. We was a little bit loose, but I felt like I was, you know, going to be all right for as far as the race goes. But just a shame. I mean, you know, try not to pride myself and make too many mistakes, but made a big one today.
Thanks for your honesty and your time. Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, real quick, what I saw happen was Vickers got off the gas a little early. I think he knew Junior was there. Junior was going hard, and he did get into him, and I admire Junior for saying, hey, I made a mistake.
Well, this is not necessarily a track where things repeat. Greg Biffle led the first 14 laps of this race. 2 years ago, he didn't even qualify for this race. Morgan Shepherd, trying to pick up 5 points for leading a lap, does so, as did Kyle Petty and Mike Wallace under the caution. But quickly, Kurt Busch, the Nextel Cup champion and hometown hero, assumes command of this race.
Of course, he's trying to get those 5 points for leading, but that's big for people like Morgan Shepherd and Mike Wallace, because we talked about making the chase. These guys are trying to stay in the top 35 in points to where they can make the races after race number 5 automatically.
Travis Quaffle on the outside of Jeff Gordon. 7th place.
Tell you what, right behind them, Tony Stewart in that 20 car, he's been on the move. He started back in 23rd position. He's up to 8th. He's actually boxed in right now behind those 2 cars. He's going to go on the outside of Jeff Gordon in the 24 for another position. And I'd keep a watch on that car behind him, the 01 of Joe Nemechek. So strong at Fontana. And as you mentioned, Darrell, this racetrack has a lot of similar characteristics.
Yeah, I don't believe you have to worry about Travis Quaffle in that 77 holding Tony up right now. That 77 car, I'm very impressed early on in this race.
And here comes Nemechek into the picture in the Army 01. Nemechek, the best Chevy 2 weeks running, it appears, from practice and qualifying here thus far. But now he trails Stewart, with Gordon looking on the inside, and Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 Dodge. For the lead, Greg Biffle is right there. As we said, 2 years ago, it was the only race of the year that he failed to qualify for, and boy, he's come back strong.
And I mean, just remember, he has won 2 of the last 3 Nextel Cup races. The last race of the season last year at Homestead, Miami, and of course 2 weeks ago at Fontana. And again, another racetrack that's that 1.5 mile fairly flat racetrack.
Once again, we want to apologize. We are operating on reduced power. We took a power hit and lost our transmission and some of our production capabilities earlier, as Greg Biffle takes the lead from Kurt Busch. And you will note that some of our computer graphics capabilities have been disabled with that power hit. Welcome back to Las Vegas, where Greg Biffle leads at 33 laps. 2 drivers who started in the back, one under penalty, one because of an engine and transmission change. Marching toward the front, Scott Riggs up to 18th. Kevin Harvick currently 19th. We've had 1 caution flag and a round of yellow flag pit stops when Dale Jr. Got into Brian Vickers, taking out Bobby Labonte as well. How about Scott Riggs? Talk about drivers picking up right where they've left off. He has had a great start to the season in that Valvoline number 10.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great run at Daytona, finished in the top 5, had a good run going at Fontana, California, one of the engine failures there. But as you pointed out, Mike, just like Kevin Harvick, he had a great qualifying run on Friday, qualified 4th, had to go to the rear of the field because of the one transmission rule. But he's been fighting his way back up to the front right there with the man that started in the back with him, Kevin Harvick, in the 29.
Another of the big move-up stories is Tony Stewart, the 2002 Cup champion, who has, I think he was 12th at the caution, came out of the pits in 8th, and now, Steve, Tony's climbed to 6th.
Yeah, he just went by Joe Nemechek seconds ago. And I tell you, talking to their race team, Mike, they know they struggled at Fontana 2 weeks ago. A lot of the notes they have used in the past to correct a problem once the race starts no longer work. So they're trying to find, you hear this a lot, they're trying to find the balance on this race car. And as I said in the top of the show, they went through wholesale changes in their organization because all 3 Gibbs cars struggled at Fontana, but it's running a lot better today, Dick Berggren.
Car number 24, Jeff Gordon, is right where he started in 11th position. However, his car is loose, but not as bad loose as Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. He is really loose. I'm also listening to Ryan Newman in 2nd place, and he has just come on the radio saying he is loose too. We got an epidemic out there.
Well, I think we have a track temperature that's really heating up, and these cars are really starting to slide around, and the back end just will not stay under the cars. Darrell, you were talking about him a while ago. Travis Quaffle in the 77 car took him 3 wide off turn 2, and he basically goes by Kurt Busch. That's for 4th position.
I like Travis. He's quiet. I mean, he's a humble guy. He's just a yeoman. He goes about his work. He's a blue-collar driver. I like him.
Quaffle has 4 Craftsman Truck Series starts here, finished in the top 5 in 3 of those 4 starts. For more on Quaffle, here's Jeannie.
Yeah, I don't know what is more dangerous, just the raw talent or the fact that he now has some confidence in the cars. We talked about Travis Quaffle. He said, I now know what it should feel like. It's a big adjustment. Remember, he knew what it was like to drive a truck. He knew what that should feel like. Knew exactly how far he could push it. He says it's taking time to get used to the Cup car. But after Atlanta, they were just there this week testing. He gained a lot of confidence coming here, a lot of confidence in himself, what he can do behind the wheel, and confidence in the team. They're starting to run better. And he also said his ace in the hole is actually his crew chief, Shane Wilson, who lived out here for a while and was a crew chief in the Truck Series. He's really helping him today, guys, learning the lines of the track and exactly where he should be.
Thanks, Jeannie. I can't believe how hard this bunch is racing, and only lap 39. 99 is Carl Edwards, who dominated the Busch race yesterday. Kevin Harvick, the 29, finished 2nd to Mark Martin in yesterday's Busch race, and Scott Riggs, last lap around, came down on the apron as they were 3 wide all the way into turn 1.
There's enough energy in those 3 guys right there that they the power shortages we're having, they could well make up for it.
But Darrell, what I'm noticing about Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, we're riding with him here. He's running a groove off the bottom of the racetrack. You heard Dick Berggren talk about his car being loose. He can't turn the steering wheel. He has to run up the racetrack a little bit.
He's backing it up the track.
Let's go back to Dick.
Well, this is Vegas. I guess it's okay to be a little bit loose in Vegas, but listening to Harvick on the radio, his car is so loose that he can barely hang on to it. He has told the crew that whatever they did on that last pit stop was wrong. Fix it next time.
You can see right there, see how he goes up the racetrack. You would think the car's not turning, but it's because he can't turn the steering wheel because it'll try to spin out with him.
Yeah, I saw a sign out here that said something about loose slots, so I guess maybe he's got loose slots today.
Casey Kane, we thought he would be a factor, and maybe it's just a little early on. He's running right behind his Evernham Dodge teammate, Jeremy Mayfield. He's right in a pack of 4 Dodges that are 13th through 16th. Matt, everything okay there?
He started 7th, Mike, but he quickly faded to the back. He says the car just is not in the racetrack. It was too free on entry. Not a good balance. Tommy Baldwin tried to fix that Dodge with a wedge adjustment. Casey says the car is now a little tighter under throttle, but he's still holding station in 15th.
Kane is about 13 seconds off the lead. As here is Kyle Busch and Travis Quaffle. This is for 3rd place.
Travis's car just looks so good, Larry. It's smooth up off the corner. He's backing the throttle early. And we know about Penske power. We know he's got plenty of power under the hood. And I do believe, I think it was Doc or Jeannie that talked about Travis's confidence. I think that's what's going to make the difference in him as the year goes on. The more seat time he gets, the better he's going to be.
And they had a great run going at Daytona about a month ago. Got caught up in that wreck near the end of the race on the restart. Struggled a little bit at Fontana, California, but boy, they have it hooked up here.
He's looking down under the 5 here, and he's going to make the pass.
Under quarter. Still there. Clear.
Of course, that's his spotter talking to him because, again, and it's a little tough on the spotters. I pointed out a while ago as Kyle gets a run back on the bottom, and they'll drag race down the back straightaway here. It's tough for that spotter to do that clearing going off into turn 1.
Plus, going into turn 1 here, the sun can be a bit of a problem. As the sun starts to move over into the west, you're looking right into it going down into turn 1, and that can really cause you some problems entering turn 1.
And it's neat to see these two guys racing with each other. Travis Quaffle in the 77, Kyle Busch in the 5, because I think this is the main thrust of our rookie battle this year. I think these guys will be battling each other all year long.
I agree. Add Eric McClure to that rookie crop who qualified for his first race of the season here this weekend. Now this will put 3 Hendrick Power cards in a row, 4, 5, and 6. Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's 48, and Joe Nemechek in the Army 01.
Jimmy Johnson, did I hear you say Jimmy Johnson?
Yes, I did.
Because I think Mr. Johnson is getting ready to make a house call.
Well, he's got a long way to go to this fellow's house because Greg Biffle up by 6/10 on Ryan Newman. There's Newman's number 12 coming to the picture behind the National Guard Ford, and Quaffle is 3 seconds back in third.
But Johnson on our timing and scoring, Jimmy is the fastest car on the racetrack right now and catching Greg Biffle, even though it might be ever so slightly.
And Biffle in the 16, he's about to catch the tail end of the field, so he'll start putting some cars a lap down. A little harder to run those fast lap times lapping cars.
.47 laps complete, and Newman taking 1/10 of a second out of Biffle's lead each lap, as now Jimmy Johnson has caught his teammate Kyle Busch in the Kellogg's car. That's the movie Robots on the hood of Kyle's car this week, just released animated feature.
Pretty impressed with the changes. You can see how Jimmy Johnson in the 48 could beat Kyle Busch back to the throttle and just lunges off the corner, because as I talked about a while ago before that last caution, he had fallen back to 19th spot. Now he's back up there in 4th.
One caution early on. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brian Vickers, Bobby Labonte, and Ricky Rudd. That was back at lap 13.
Biffle leading Ryan Newman and Travis Quaffle. Biffle having taken the lead on lap 23 for the second time in this race, overtaking Kurt Busch. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., someone who had hoped to turn things around out of the race for the moment after an earlier accident that happened on lap 12.
As we're watching, you can see Greg Biffle as he works his way through traffic, being pursued pretty heavily by Ryan Newman. And what's so interesting, Chris, is that we're getting almost halfway through a